It's what we're doing in society now. We're making people persona non grata. You can erase someone's entire existence. Where the heck does some forgiveness go?
Justin, don't fall in love with it. Justin, no, Justin, hey, focus, hey.
While Sean Diddy Combs' latest arrest has shed a spotlight on the underdoing happening in Black Hollywood, did you know that White Hollywood equally has a massive rot?
Hollywood is evil.
Tell me why.
No, just listen. I love you.
Has it always...
Well, that's right, and none serves the tea better than actor Matthew McConaughey. Following Diddy's arrest and endless accusations against him, conspiracy theorists are losing their minds on social media over claims that famed actor McConaughey admitted that a satanic initiation process exists in Hollywood. But was that actually said?
I didn't get work and didn't work for over 2 years. Hollywood forgot me.
Well, that's right, and none serves the tea better than actor Matthew McConaughey. Following Diddy's arrest and endless accusations against him, conspiracy theorists are losing their minds on social media over claims that famed actor McConaughey admitted that a satanic initiation process exists in Hollywood. But was that actually said?
It's just so arrogant, and in some ways hypocritical to me.
During a recent interview with People magazine, McConaughey discussed his over 3 decades in the industry and questioned why he was never given any tips or tricks for surviving Hollywood early on in his career. There's a lot of things you learn 10 years after being in Hollywood and you go, well, why didn't they tell me that in year 2? Because there's an initiation process, he said. The 54-year-old Interstellar star, whose first lead role was alongside Sandra Bullock in the 1996 film A Time to K, talked about his ups and downs over the years, painting a new picture about White Hollywood that no one knew existed.
So when I couldn't do what I wanted to do, I stopped doing what I had been doing, which was the rom-coms. Now that was me buying a one-way ticket into limbo and maybe never working in Hollywood again.
I, like anyone, have had my ups and downs. My star meter has been higher. My star meter has been lower. I've won Oscars. I've been arrested for playing the bongos naked. Overall, I believe there's been inherent goodwill for me, but it did not keep me from figuring out my own initiation into the industry. The actor, who recently attended the Oscars with his wife Camila, added, because there's an initiation process. There just is. You can get tips, but you've got to figure out the BS, cut the wheat from the chaff along the way. He said that while it is possible to get tips from others in the industry, he believes it is important for aspiring actors to learn how things work for themselves. Now, the Dallas Buyers Club actor wouldn't even share what he's learned with his younger self. It was horrific, to say the least. He said, "Oh, I wouldn't tell him. I'd let him figure it out the same way I did. Take feeder roads off the highway. Get confused, get frustrated, feel lost, and overcome it."
I didn't have anything to rely on. I didn't have friends. I didn't have family. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a job with money.
In 2020, Matthew reflected on his tumultuous Hollywood career, including a now infamous brush with the law in 1999. The actor, who has reinvented himself in recent years by refusing rom-com roles in favor of more dramatic work, published a candid memoir about his life that looks back at his past indiscretions. Matthew's transformation from Hollywood bad boy to family man coincided with his change from starring in fluffy rom-coms to hard-hitting blockbusters, a move dubbed the McConaissance. In 1999, a knock on his door was the police responding to the neighbor's noise complaint. They found him stoned and naked with a bong nearby.
The first thing I know is I'm playing, and you see, you sense someone's there, and you look up, and I saw that these two silhouettes, and you can pretty well make out a cop's
blue uniform.
Right. Two.
Right.
And my first reaction is, what the hell is someone doing in my house?
He resisted arrest and was hauled off to jail for resisting, as well as for marijuana possession. The charges were dropped eventually, but he had to pay a $50 fine for disturbing the peace, a mere drop in the bucket for the actor who was then earning $4 million a film. Matthew's acclaimed performance in Dallas Buyers Club led to his Oscar win in 2014, and he has continued to appear in dramatic roles, including True Detective and Interstellar. While everyone thinks Black Hollywood is full of evil, Matthew alleges that the other side is even worse. But who are some of the elites he is talking about? Firstly, of course, there is Harvey Weinstein. Since Frontline first aired its documentary on Weinstein, the former movie mogul has been tried, convicted, and sentenced to a combined 39 years in prison on multiple criminal charges in New York and Los Angeles.
He gripped my arm
and he started to massage my shoulders
in a forceful way.
Stories with uncanny similarities.
He came back in a robe, just like...
The story began in October 2017, when the New York Times and the New Yorker reported that numerous women had accused Weinstein of sexual harassment, assault, and misconduct over nearly 3 decades. The reporting helped spark a social movement called #MeToo against sexual violence and harassment, and led to more than 200 other high-profile men being accused of misconduct.
If you were in his movie, you had a shot at an Academy Award.
He used his non-disclosure agreements.
It was a show of power.
I think a lot of people turned a blind eye at.
And control.
Frontline's 2018 documentary Weinstein investigated the allegations against the disgraced Hollywood producer and examined the tactics he and his supporters used to silence his accusers, including non-disclosure agreements, legal threats, and private investigators. The allegations against Weinstein prompted authorities in New York and Los Angeles to open criminal investigations. British prosecutors also announced in June 2022 that they authorized police to charge Weinstein with 2 counts of indecent assault against a woman in London regarding incidents that happened in 1996. But it's not yet clear if Weinstein will be extradited for a trial in the UK. Dozens of women have also filed civil lawsuits against the disgraced mogul regarding his conduct.
His career is over, but who knows? Anything can happen.
Weinstein's first criminal trial began in Manhattan in January 2020. He pleaded not guilty and maintained that all his sexual encounters were consensual. The charges relied on the complaints of 2 women, a former production assistant and a former actress, regarding incidents from 2006 and 2013, respectively. Testimony from a 3rd woman supported a predatory sexual assault charge, and 3 additional women served as prior bad acts witnesses, testifying that Weinstein sexually assaulted them to show a pattern in his behavior. By the end of February 2020, the jury found the producer guilty of 3rd-degree R and 1st-degree criminal sexual act. He was acquitted of 1st-degree R and 2 counts of predatory sexual assault.
No one could hear me. No one could hear me. And I told this story in great detail to Variety magazine 2 years to the month prior to the publication of the New York Times piece.
On March 11, 2020, Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison. His sentences are consecutive, meaning he has to serve 20 years in jail for the criminal sexual act conviction and then 3 years in prison for the R conviction. Each sentence includes 5 years of supervised release, and Weinstein also has to register as a S offender. His lawyers have been trying to appeal his conviction. They first filed an appeal in April 2021, arguing that the judge made mistakes that denied Weinstein's right to a fair trial. But the 5-judge panel of the New York Supreme Court's Appellate Division, First Department, unanimously rejected it. New York's highest court, the Court of Appeals, agreed in August 2022 to hear Weinstein's appeal. His case is still ongoing. Weinstein aside, Axl is another Hollywood giant entangled in assault cases. Rose has been working to have the case filed against him by a former model, alleging he sexually assaulted her thrown out.
In 1989, did you do a tour concert set in Los Angeles Coliseum opening for the Rolling Stones?
Yes, we did.
On February 21st, the Guns N' Roses rocker and his legal team filed to dismiss the lawsuit brought against him in November last year, 1 day prior to the expiration of the New York Adult Survivors Act, by Sheila Kennedy, who claims that he sexually assaulted her in a New York City hotel in 1989. In documents obtained by People magazine, Rose's legal team references Kennedy's 2016 memoir, No One's Pet, where she describes the alleged incident as consensual S. They also point out previous interviews she's done, including one for the 2021 documentary Look Away, in which she said she did not consider it R, it was consensual. The documents allege that the former Penthouse model discovered she could profit from claiming that the incident had not in fact been consensual once the statute of limitations had reopened. Kennedy cannot and will not succeed in this unscrupulous attempt at a financial windfall. This lawsuit will lay bare the falsity of these vexatious and meritless allegations. The suit reads, The former, now in her 60s, filed the lawsuit on November 22nd for alleged sexual assault and battery in New York, claiming the singer targeted her using his fame and celebrity status to manipulate, control, and violently sexually assault her. A lawyer for Rose denied the claims at the time. Simply put, this incident never happened. Notably, these fictional claims were filed the day before the New York State filing deadline expires, the singer's attorney clarified. Though he doesn't deny the possibility of a fan photo taken in passing, Mr. Rose has no recollection of ever meeting or speaking to the plaintiff and has never heard about these fictional allegations prior to today. Mr. Rose is confident this case will be resolved in his favor. The complaint claimed that the former model left the club with Rose and his entourage for his hotel suite, where he allegedly pushed Kennedy against the wall and kissed her, though she said she did not mind, as she was open to having S with him. As the night continued, Kennedy claimed Rose began encouraging Group S, and she became uncomfortable as she watched him have S with another model. The complaint alleged that Kennedy left Rose's bedroom and later heard him throwing glass and screaming obscenities at the model. She claimed that he then entered the room she was sitting in and knocked her to the floor, then grabbed her by the hair and dragged her back to his bedroom in a very painful encounter that left her with bloody knees. Something more or less similar to what Diddy did to Cassie. Once in Rose's bedroom, Kennedy alleged that he threw her to the floor twice and tied her hands behind her back using pantyhose before forcibly penetrating Kennedy's A with his P without asking for consent. He treated her like property used solely for his sexual pleasure, the complaint claimed. Kennedy did not consent and felt overpowered. She felt she had no escape or exit and was compelled to acquiesce. She believed Rose would physically attack her, or worse, if she said no or attempted to push him away. She understood that the safest thing to do was to lie in bed and wait for Rose to finish assaulting her. In the complaint, Kennedy said the alleged assault left lifelong emotional, physical, psychological, and financial impacts on her life, and that she's experienced symptoms akin to post-traumatic stress disorder hearing Rose's name or Guns N' Roses music. She also claimed the assault directly led to her being diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and that it had an adverse effect on her career, as she avoided nightclubs and social settings where he or his music might be. The complaint also listed other instances of Rose's alleged sexual abuse, including his arrest for alleged statutory R, charges that were later dropped, and a 1994 story that featured interviews with his former partners Aaron Everly and Stephanie Seymour. Both women alleged that Rose abused them, and both filed suit against him, though each case was settled out of court. Another white elite with a case akin to Diddy's is Russell Brand. Brand described the appalling allegations against him as very, very hurtful, as he denied all wrongdoing leveled against him.
I like to have it off, right? As sort of, thanks. Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's cheer the idea of sex.
In September last year, the British actor and comedian was accused of R, assault, and emotional abuse between 2006 and 2013, following a joint investigation by Channel 4 Dispatches, The Times, and The Sunday Times. A documentary about the claims also included allegations of controlling, abusive, and predatory behavior. And just like Diddy, one of Brand's accusers claimed she was 16 and still at school when they began a relationship, while another woman said she had been R at Brand's Los Angeles home. Another woman told Sky News he made her feel vulnerable and intimidated, and alleged he refused to call her a taxi until she performed a S-act. The fallout from the claims caused Brand to suspend his tour.
I'm a tricky little swine, I'm a trickster. I'm a raven, I'm a playful coyote, looking for mischief.
After the documentary aired, other complainants came forward to the BBC and the Metropolitan Police. In November this past year, the force reportedly interviewed him. He has not been arrested or charged. Brand told Tucker Carlson in an interview posted on the former Fox News host's YouTube channel that it was hurtful to be accused of what I consider to be the most appalling crimes. He added, "This is very, very painful and very, very hurtful." The actor, who has starred in films including Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Trolls, revealed the Channel 4 documentary coincided with the birth of his son, who suffered health issues after being born. He said, "My son was born with a heart condition, and while this documentary airing was happening, he was undergoing heart surgery. He was 12 weeks old, and I suppose what that did, Tucker, is it revealed that what we were experiencing was a public concoction. I'm aware that I put myself in an extremely vulnerable position by being very, very promiscuous, but that is not the type of conduct I endorse, and it's certainly not how I would live now. The actor said he was now mentioning his son, as the documentary had made him aware of what is important in life. He added, "Of course, I deny any allegations of the kind that have been advanced, and what I have seen is the significance of family and the importance of beliefs that are transcendent of this." Brand confessed he had been a denizen of the entertainment world, where he was fostered and adored and celebrated, and lived the kind of lifestyle that was kind of common for people in that arena, for single people, and in my case, drug and alcohol people, certainly with an appetite for a promiscuous lifestyle. The actor and singer worked for BBC Six Music and BBC Radio 2 from 2006 to 2008. He also hosted Big Brother's spin-off shows, Big Brother's E-Forum and Big Brother's Big Mouth between 2006 and 2013, along with other shows commissioned on Channel 4. Another big name Matthew may be talking about is Steven Tyler.
A new lawsuit accuses Aerosmith frontman Steven Tyler of sexual assault of a minor back in the 1970s. In the lawsuit, which does not name Tyler as a defendant, Julia Misley, formerly known as Julia Holcomb.
Tyler's name was officially added to a lawsuit filed in December by a woman who claims to have had an illicit relationship with him in the 70s when she was a minor. The suit accused the Aerosmith singer of sexual assault, sexual battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit was filed following California legislation that temporarily waived statutes of limitations for childhood sexual abuse allegations. In the suit filed in Los Angeles and obtained by Rolling Stone, the plaintiff Julia Holcomb alleges that Tyler convinced Holcomb's mother to grant him guardianship over her when she was 16 years old, which consequently allowed her to live with him and engage in a sexual relationship. She claims they were together from 1973 until about 3 years later. When the suit was first filed, it identified the name Tyler, naming the defendants as Defendant Doe 1 and Does 2 through 50. The complaint was amended to include his name, though 2 through 50 wasn't specified. Holcomb, who Rolling Stone mentioned in a 1976 profile of the band in reference to Tyler's romantic life, has been public about her experience with the singer in the past, and the lawsuit directly quoted from Tyler's own memoir. In his book, without stating a name, Tyler similarly says he almost took a teen bride and that her parents fell in love with me, signed a paper over for me to have custody so I wouldn't get arrested if I took her out of state. I took her on tour with me. I want this action to expose an industry that protects celebrity offenders, to cleanse and hold accountable, an industry that both exploited and allowed me to be exploited for years, along with so many other naive and vulnerable kids and adults. Holcomb, who filed under her current name Julia Misley, said in a statement regarding her suit. In the statement, she also referenced the legislation allowing her to come forward with the suit and the exploitation and trauma she claims she faced from Tyler. Because I know that I'm not the only one who suffered abuse in the music industry, I feel it is time for me to take this stand and bring this action, to speak up and stand in solidarity with the other survivors. In the suit, Holcomb alleges that she was powerless to resist Tyler's power, fame, and substantial financial ability, and that Tyler coerced and persuaded plaintiff into believing this was a romantic love affair. Holcomb alleges that she met Tyler, who would have been 25 at the time of their meeting, just after her 16th birthday when Aerosmith played a concert in Portland, Oregon in 1973. Tyler, according to the suit, took Holcomb back to his hotel room where they discussed her age. After he allegedly asked why she was out all night by herself, Tyler and Holcomb talked about her troubles at home. He then performed various acts of criminal sexual conduct upon her before sending her home in a taxi the next morning, the lawsuit states. Tyler also allegedly bought Holcomb her own plane ticket to his next Aerosmith show in Seattle since she was a minor, and could not legally travel with him across state lines, the suit says. After the Seattle show, the singer allegedly performed more sexual acts on her, and Holcomb flew back to Portland the next morning. By 1974, as the suit alleges, Tyler convinced Holcomb's mother to allow him to become her guardian, which would allow him to more easily travel with her without criminal prosecution. A timeline that matches Tyler's own comments from his 2011 memoir. Tyler allegedly told Holcomb's mother he would provide better support than she was getting at home, promising to enroll her in school and give her medical care. However, the singer did not meaningfully follow through on these promises and instead continued to travel with, assault, and provide alcohol and drugs to plaintiff, the suit claims. Holcomb further alleges that she was pregnant with Tyler's son in 1975 when she was 17 years old, but got an abortion after the singer insisted she terminate the pregnancy following an apartment fire. In making the argument, he cited smoke inhalation and lack of oxygen to the baby. Though the suit claims a medical professional told her the unborn baby was not harmed by the fire. According to the lawsuit, Holcomb was hesitant about going through with the abortion, but Tyler had threatened to stop supporting her if she didn't proceed with the procedure. After the abortion, she allegedly left Tyler and went back to Portland to change her life. She became a devout Catholic, met her husband, and buried her previous experiences with Tyler until he wrote about them in his book. The victim says in the suit that her life was further disrupted with the publication of Tyler's memoir, which, without Holcomb's consent, referenced his time with an underage girl and subjected her to involuntary infamy, while framing the alleged abuse as a romantic, loving relationship. The suit says, Tyler has also spoken of a relationship with an underage girl, both in his own memoir and in Aerosmith's autobiography. The Aerosmith autobiography, published in 1997, references the relationship, the apartment fire, and abortion, but Tyler refers to the girl as Diana and said she was 14 at the time they met. In his memoir, however, he says she was 16, and he writes about the fire, but not the abortion. In the suit, Holcomb says she's mentioned in the memoir's acknowledgments, which further removed her anonymity. The book's acknowledgments include Julia Holcomb, which could be a misspelling of her name. She was 16, she knew how to be nasty, and there wasn't a hair on it, Tyler wrote in his memoir before saying he became the girl's guardian to avoid getting arrested if he took her out of state, before detailing their sexual endeavors a few pages later. With my bad self being 26 and she barely old enough to drive an sexy as hell, I just fell madly in love with her. She was a cute, skinny little tomboy dressed up as Little Bo Peep. She was my heart's desire, my partner in crimes of passion. Well, Diddy is not alone in targeting underage women, and his case just opened a can of worms. Lastly, there is Jonah Hill. Actor and comedian Jonah Hill denied an allegation from actor Alexa Nicholas that he assaulted her when she was 16. Nicholas, now 32, claimed on Twitter, now X, on the 9th of July last year that Hill had slammed her to a door and shoved his tongue down her throat while outside a house party.
Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend Sarah Brady accuses the star of emotional abuse during their relationship. On July 6th, the 26-year-old California surfer posted a professional photo of herself wearing a white crop top.
At the time, legal representatives for the Superbad star described the claim as a complete fabrication and stated that it never happened when approached for comment. Nicholas is best known for her role in the Nickelodeon series Zoe 101. She made the claim days after Hill's former girlfriend, Sarah Brady, accused the actor of being an emotionally abusive partner and shared screenshots of text messages Hill allegedly sent her. In the messages purportedly sent by Hill while the pair were in a relationship, the actor appears to ask her to take down Instagram photographs of herself in bathing suits. He then details his boundaries for a romantic partnership, which include surfing with men, to model, and friendships with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent past. On X, Nicholas wrote that Brady's admirable post had inspired her to share her own claims. According to Nicholas, she was attending a house party hosted by Barbarian star Justin Long when Hill offered her a cigarette. In a statement, Long said he had no knowledge of Hill's alleged behavior. The pair then walked out to Hill's car together, where he retrieved a packet of cigarettes from the front seat. They then walked back towards the house. Jonah Hill didn't hand me the cig, she wrote, which I thought was weird, and then as we walked back to the door, I asked him for it, and he said nothing but slammed me to the door and shoved his tongue down my throat. I was so appalled I pushed him off of me and ran inside. I was a child, so I obviously felt scared and angry, the actress further told Page Six. Sadly, this wasn't the first time I've been assaulted or objectified as a child. I was intoxicated from their alcohol, and so none of that helped my decision-making afterwards. This was before Uber and Lyft, by the way, and I didn't even drive yet. The actor also claimed that attendees at the party, including Hill, had been aware that she was 16 years old at the time. So, while the focus now is sharply on Diddy, once his case is done and dusted, quite a number of stars on the other side of the bridge may face the same fate. And that's it from us today. Until next time, thank you for watching.